Hi, my name's Dee and welcome to Untitled Tarot. Now, this is a general Gods at Play reading for the full moon. I've already done oracle card readings for each individual sign. Link down below to the playlist, obviously. I'm going to say link down below a few times here. So, what's your sun, your moon, your rising? Now, these Gods at Play readings, if you've seen them before, by their very, very nature, they are dramatic. They are looking at the masks that the archons are wearing to keep you separate from your divine purpose, and the gods that are working with you and that are on your side, trying to lift you up and reconnect you with your higher self, God, the divine, however you want to look at it. And because of the cards that I use, a selection of oracle decks, they are by their very nature dramatic, which makes them so much fun. But it is a general reading. So, and it's not even necessarily a reading where it's describing what's going on for you right now. It is a look at energies that can be around you, and it's something to file away and enjoy. And you may see situations that you're going through already in the reading, or you may not. And if you don't, go and watch your moon, go and watch your rising. In fact, always watch your rising. If you've got a choice, watch your rising. Now, it is an eclipse, so I suppose your sun and your moon are quite important on this one as well. But don't give away your power. Don't depend on what any YouTube tarot reader says. These readings are officially for entertainment purposes only. But more to the point, it is a form of entertainment because it's there for confirmation. You should be able to hear things that activate your confirmation bias, or basically just go, yeah, I know what that's on about. Now, also down there is a link to the show that I did with astrologer David Fisher, looking at the astrology of the full moon, super moon, blood moon, flower moon. Yes, power moon. No, flower moon. Total lunar eclipse. So as you can imagine, it's a bit of an event. We're in eclipse season now. These next 2 weeks between the lunar and the solar eclipses are considered to be a portal in and of themselves. I know this lunar eclipse is considered to be really good for opening portals for other realms. I will say, yes, now I wrote this down somewhere. If you have any Virgo in your chart, watch the Virgo reading, which is the second half. Timestamp down below as ever, because I'm going to waffle about the moon a little bit first and then get to the reading by jumping ahead to the timestamp. But please listen to my waffle at least once, because I think you might find something of value, hopefully. But if you have any Virgo in your chart, go and watch the Virgo reading. And if you are a Pisces sun, go and watch the Virgo reading. Because if you think about it, Pisces sun means Earth in Virgo. And it's a doozy, but that Pisces Virgo axis, because I've just literally done the Pisces reading, and to be quite honest, that was a doozy as well. So if you've got anything on that Pisces Virgo axis, go and watch both of them, to be quite honest. Right, so with this reading, you can ask a question beforehand. It's not one where I guarantee that you'll be able to tell if there's an answer or not. It's not like the monthlies or my sun with moon rising combination readings, where you can either tell, yeah, this is for me, this isn't for me. So it's I don't like saying take what resonates, because it just sounds so formulaic. But if the whole thing resonates, take it. And if the whole thing doesn't resonate, don't take it. I'm much more a fan of having the whole reading or not little bits. Now, obviously, I'm a YouTube channel. I'm personally a YouTube channel. I'm trying to grow the channel, so I will be very grateful if you would like the video once you've had your reading, give me a good judgment that way. But don't forget to hit that like button. And if you haven't subscribed already, please do, because it really will help me grow the channel, because I leave my subscriber number public while it's so absolutely and utterly pathetic. So I'm still looking for that magic 1,000. So all helped, gratefully appreciated, and thank you so much to everyone who has. Now there's also a link down there for the Facebook page for this channel, because I don't trust YouTube notifications, but more importantly, I also post on there a lot of the astrology weather report videos that I collect from YouTube. So I try to make it a bit of a one-stop shop. And also it's got its own inbox. So if you want to contact me for a personal reading, that Facebook page is the best way to do it. There is a link tree down there that'll take you to my Twitter and to my email and what have you. But trust me, Facebook's the best way to, as probably awful that is to say. Right, that was 5 minutes waffle already, and I haven't even got into the moon. So, in the Oracle card readings, I focused on the South Node. Now, what I want to focus on here is not even so much the lunar eclipse and the symbols of the lunar eclipse itself, apart from the inside degree or Chandra symbol for the 5-degree Sagittarius, where the eclipse is. I love this image. Also, being a Wonder Woman fan helps. A pair of shoes with wings on them. So basically, there's a blessing of Hermes. There is Hermes sandals. But what I want to focus on is Jupiter, because Jupiter is square to this eclipse and ruling this eclipse. Jupiter is at home in Pisces, obviously. It is dignified in Pisces, if you want to say it that way. It is also at home in Sagittarius. Now, I think that there's an extra whammy going on with Pisces. I've spoke about Neptune conjunct Pallas conjunct Orpheus in the Oracle card videos, playlist down below. But Neptune is, if you look at Neptune as the modern ruler, that's energizing Pisces and anything that's in it. You look at Jupiter as the traditional ruler, which I prefer traditional rulerships, it's energizing everything else in Pisces. The two rulers together cannot be a bad thing. Speaking as a Pisces, yes, things will get misty, and yes, things will get cosmic, and yes, things will get really, and this is quite a statement probably for all of Jupiter in Pisces this year and next year. But don't forget, we're going to get rained in by Saturn in a month or so's time as Jupiter goes retrograde. But moving on, the angel ruling Jupiter is Yelahia at 1 degree Pisces. It's actually 1 degree 11 minutes. So I looked up the angel number for that, which says very much it's about manifestation, prosperity, awareness, uniqueness, motivation, and independence. But basically, monitor your thoughts and stay focused. And that focus is a really, really important point. In the Pisces reading that I just finished, it's like your focus needs to be zeroing in and zeroing in and zeroing in. And I wish I'd thought of that image when I was doing the reading, because that's exactly what I was trying to say. But Yelahia, sorry, the angel number 111 is all about monitor your thoughts because you're going to manifest. Jupiter brings abundance. Now, Yelahia is all about sweetening judgment and is a karmic warrior, whatever that happens to mean. And I'm not even going to touch that phrase with the barge pole, because I think I know, but I think the understanding of that term is different for every single person. Because karma is different for every single person. But I like that sweetening judgment aspect. However, it's an eclipse, and as David pointed out to me, certainly in terms of, I think he was looking at the Indian astrology in the terms of the dragon Rahu and Ketu, or parts of the dragon Rahu and Ketu. He was saying that the eclipse is where the light is removed and so the demonic influence comes in. Now, the demonic influence, this decan is ruled by day by Furfa, Goetic spirit Furfa, or Furta, and by night, Seer. Now, Seer, or Seer, is his natural planet is Jupiter. So the fact that Jupiter in Pisces, in Seer's decan, gives that Jupiter expansiveness extra whammy for me. But it's given extra whammy to that Pisces energy. But let's have a look what Seer is about. Now, I would imagine around the eclipse is a great time, if you're into Goetic evocation, to evoke Seer. But I would cast some divination first, and I'm still apprehensive about doing any hocus pocus during the 14 minutes of the total eclipse. Wait till the sunlight has returned to the moon. And if you're wanting to contact Seer, I would imagine in that 14 minutes, although he is a timeless entity and lives in a realm beyond time, but you know, this time here, so he's going to likely be busy being during those 14 minutes, and therefore after the 14 minutes been in a really good mood. So Seer is actually quite a benevolent entity. Seer is known to increase the longevity of the witch, so that's really quite useful. Certainly when your days are getting on a bit. And he is apt for chakra work, specifically the second chakra, the soul star and the earth star chakra. So literally that he is an embodiment of working with the as above so below, and or the grounding yourself and bringing down white light, if you know the technique from that name. But most traditions have a version of linking yourself to Gaia and then bringing the energy down from the cosmos. Seer engenders the quick occurrence of things and catalyzes stagnated affairs with movement. He enacts the revelation of whatever persons in your life essay to keep you unaware of. So he reveals secrets. He presides over sorcery and brings about the fulfillment and gnosis of the will. So there's an understanding of self there, and there's an understanding of divine self there, or of just the divine. But the next bit is what I've highlighted. The traditional delineation of Seer is as follows, and I love this. His office is to go and come, and to bring abundance of things to pass all of a sudden, and to carry or recarry anything wherever you would have it go or where you would have it from. He can pass over the entire earth in the twinkling of a single eye. He gives a true relation of all sorts of theft and of hidden treasure and of other things. He is of an indifferent good nature and willing to do anything that the summoner requires. And then it talks about how he will help the witch contact higher spheres of light, and you've got to remember that a lot of these Goetic spirits that Solomon worked with have angelic origins. So, you know, they know what they're on about. Now, the actual degree, angel of the eclipse degree, is about building bridges, fertility, multiplicity, defeats, this Amael, defeats frustration, despair and depression, but obviously not in that 14 minutes. That's where I would imagine they could rear their head. And then it's up to you to defeat frustration, despair and depression for those 14 minutes. But the minute that light returns, Amael will be there assisting you with that. And there's a huge amount of self-determination I'm seeing about this lunar eclipse. I am actually really, really excited for this lunar eclipse. When I was starting the astrology, I was a bit like, oh God, eclipses, they're all going to be scary. You know, they're as scary as comets. But there's so much that can be drawn, I think, from this eclipse, or that can be opened. There is a wonderful sense of potential. And if this is the start of this 2-week portal, it is something to be celebrated, it is something to be experienced, and it is something to spiritually grab with both hands, in whatever way, shape, or form that may mean, because grabbing may be the wrong term. Because the other thing about this 1 degrees Pisces, there was a writer called Franz Baden who did evocations of what he called the degree heads of every degree of the zodiac. Now, 1 degree Pisces is ruled by Shad, who, among other things, inspires technical inventions. So there's this huge problem solving. He will, if you've got a little bit of genius in you, Shad will go, see that genius you've got there? Here, have that, see how you get on with it. Giving that inspiration. And there's power here, the Omega symbol. And if anybody knows where the Omega symbols are from, please do tell me. I've got this list of Omega symbols and I've no idea where they've come from. But this I really like. The Omega symbol for 1 degree Pisces. Remember, this is Jupiter ruling the eclipse, not the eclipse. From deep in the earth, the sound of a waterfall. Now, within that, we've got that sense of building of power, building of potentiality. We've got the idea of the underground stream, that magical current that runs through the earth that magicians and energy workers can tap into, the dragon lines, the ley lines, however you want to say it, with that cleansing sense of water, the waterfall. There's not much more for me. I mean, I've got loads of notes here, but they're all pretty much saying the same thing. This lunar eclipse is a doozy. Take advantage, take precautions. You know, don't do your hocus pocus during the 14 minutes of total blackout, but take advantage, meditate, sing, dance, do whatever feels right for you that gets your energies tingling, not just your fingers, but the air around your fingers, not just your spine, but the whole air around you. When the air that is around you is part of your sensory input, then yeah, you're well on the way. And with that, let me bring up the cards. Okay, Leo. Well, as you are aware, this top row represents the masks that the archons wear as they try and suppress or oppress you, or even depress you. And the bottom row represents the gods that are trying to lift you up and help you reconnect with the divine. And what I'm seeing here is there's distractions coming, and distractions that I'd advise that you don't fall for. The archontic masks we have here are Ganesha with obstacles, Hecate with crossroads, Aphrodite with self-love, the Graces with festivities, and Sedna with abandonment. And that in and of itself tells a story. It tells a story of being tempted to fill a hole by going out and having fun. I mean, why wouldn't you? A lot of the lockdowns are being released around the world at the moment. But is it really going to fill any hole? You know, because I know from the other readings that I've given you recently, Leo, because I assume I'm still talking to my small section of Leos, which is not 1/12 of the world by a long shot. Oh yeah, please subscribe while you're here. And thank you to all those who have. That it's been a stormy time over the last 12 months or so. So a bit of welcome distraction would probably feel like a good thing. However, here, with it being on the archontic row, it's almost like, is that going to When I say fill a hole, it's that sense of feeling isolated, feeling abandoned because of the results of the events of the past 12 months. And I am definitely linking this one to my previous Leo readings. Although I seem to remember your last couple were quite good. Um, well, maybe not the last one, but the one before that was good. And what I really want to say is stay on the path. Do not get distracted, because some of the distractions that come up are illusions. You are being told, well, to do this, if you're wanting to look after yourself and give yourself that self care and give yourself that self love, you need to do this. And why don't you come out and have a party? Not that I'm saying there's anything wrong with going out and having a party, as long as, you know, social distancing, according to your environment, blah, 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 blah. All the various COVID-19 precautions that you need to take. But right here, if you're doing it to have some fun, great, go do it. If you're doing it because you're feeling off kilter and off balance and you're wanting it to fill a hole rather than doing it for its own sake, then maybe not. Maybe not right now. Maybe you need to absorb these lunar eclipse energies and use them for looking a little more inward, using that whole, as I talked about in the oracle card readings. I can't remember what your oracle card reading said, Leo. I'm sorry about that. But using that whole Neptune conjunct Pallas conjunct Orpheus to go on your little, go on your own little underworld quest. Dive in, come back straight out again, because the gods that are working with you. We have hypnos with sleep, indicating a time of recovery, and also indicating that what obstacles come up on your path, for the time being, short term, just ignore them. That was the distinct message that I got as I laid these cards, is that the obstacles are coming up, ignore them. If there's an obstacle in your way, go and face a direction where you've still got stuff to do and there isn't an obstacle there, and do that instead. It reminds me of that whole there was a British TV show called Why Don't You? And get this, in the introduction music to the show, which I would have thought would have been better at the end of the show, but in the introduction music to the show, there was this line, why don't you turn off the TV and go out and do something else instead? I always thought that should have been at the end of the show, but because they're losing viewers that way, because there was multiple times as a kid I went, okay then, and clicked it off. But anyway, that's that sense of, why don't you turn off the TV, or why don't you turn off whatever it is that you're feeling blocked by and go and do something that you're not blocked by. And that gives a true sense of that self-love that you might be wanting to work with after everything that's been going on. And if you're okay with that, then there may still be some healing to do, because the next god we've got here is Chiron. And with Chiron opposing her, the archontic mask of Hecate here, it's almost like there's something that's wanting to pull you away from that healing. Well, of course they are. This is a reading that's dealing with archons. So, you know, of course they're going to want to pull you away from your healing. And I think that there's closer to home stuff to be working on. When I say closer to home, I don't mean in the house. I mean in the heart and in the head. You know, there's now this is followed by Pomona. Here representing the essence of plenty. Pomona was a nymph, a gardener, who also loved tending her garden and rejected all suitors until one who turned up who just wanted to help her tend her garden. So it's like, okay, right, you'll do. And so again, there's that close to home sense, because Pomona would be one who, you know, she would be doing all the things that gardeners do: pruning, cutting things back to encourage new growth, all that sort of thing. So there's that housekeeping. And with Hypnos and Chiron here, deep level housekeeping is open for you and will be supported. Now I'm going to wait for the tarot cards to come out before I try and interpret what Aries is doing here as a god supporting you. Although the one thing that popped into my head is that if there is an invitation to go out with people, but you're having a row with one of them, and therefore you're a bit, do I? That's fine. That's absolutely fine. Let that row stand just for the moment. You can always try and sort that out in a couple of weeks' time. But let it stand for the moment, because it will encourage you to do this close to home stuff. That's the one thing that popped out here. And especially with Dear Woman following straight after. Dear Woman is very much about respecting the respecting your own boundaries and respecting other people's boundaries, respecting boundaries of behavior. So that could be double-edged. Maybe you've gone over the line, or maybe they've gone over the line. Either way, keep your distance for a moment and sort it out in a couple of weeks' time, not necessarily during this period. Bear in mind, we've got all the illusions and shadow sides of Neptune going on at the moment. We've got Mercury retrograde, so communications can get a bit weird. And the interesting thing is, from the Oracle of Heaven and Hell, we have Rochelle representing restitution. So setting something right. Now, this Aries against the Graces implies that there was something wrong that needs to be set right. But the best process that I'm getting here is basically clean your own house first before you start criticizing someone else's. And that's because maybe what they did was out of order, or maybe you perceived it out of order because you was hurting from something else that had gone on before. Certainly if it's the second one, then this would imply that you're still hurting from that thing, so don't try and sort it out just yet. Wait till you've recovered it and done the healing work. I hope this makes sense to someone, because it sounds awful, doesn't it? Ten of Wands, yes, be careful about engaging with whatever obstacles are in your path, because you may find them a bigger burden than what you are assuming they would be. Now we have the Lovers, obviously representing choice, with this crossroads. And with this crossroads that Hecate is presenting here, certainly opposing Chiron in his god form, I would say the decision isn't which way do I go. The decision is more, do I go yet? No, don't rush things. In fact, that's what I'll be nice and I will call the reading that, don't rush things. Because the other thing with Pomona, if you're looking for some form of love influence, then Pomona's presence can suggest a suitable love influence or presence coming in, whether that means in a friendship or a capital R relationship, or a change of dynamics in the family or workplace or what have you. It's someone that you can work with to your goals, because your goals are their goals. And that's not so much that they're adopting your goals or you're adopting theirs. It's just that you both have the same goals anyway. So, Seven of Swords with the self-love. Right, almost like you are being given a strategy, a recipe of, here's how you'll feel better. Do this, 2 Archangel Michaels, and call me in the morning, you know. And it's not as simple or as structured as that. And the beautiful world that opens up through Hypnos, through that whole have a look at your neuromancy, see what your dreams are telling you, and see what revelation comes once you've had a rest. You know, like the idea of you making a decision and you want to sleep on it. This is definitely a suggestion of sleep on it. Have justice with the graces, with festivities, Five of Swords with the Sedna and abandonment. So again, there's that sign of conflict. Okay, so if there is a row that you're that is preventing you from going out, and as I said at the moment, good, not good because there's a row, but good because it's preventing you from going out. Then the going out and mixing and mingling can be seen as an effort to set things right. But as I say in all of these gods at play readings, which are by their very nature dramatic anyway, this top line is always a trap. Whatever is going on this top row, it's a trap. It's full on Admiral Akbar. So this conflict around feeling abandoned, that might not even be you that's feeling abandoned, and it might be somebody else that's feeling abandoned, and you are being summoned to go out to deal with, to fill their hole that's full of abandonment and loneliness. And I don't want to sound too service to self opposed to service to others, because as you know, I like to put the service to others element in my readings, but it's not your job to do that. It's their job to sort that out. So let's have a look what the gods have got to say. So, Two of Wands with Hypnos. Planning. Planning that can be, again, not exacerbated, that's the wrong word, encouraged by sleep, rest. That sense of, it's not a sense of not thinking, it's a sense of not controlling the thoughts and just letting whatever appear and disappear again. So, Chiron, we've got the Eight of Swords. So what we're dealing with is some form of anxiety. But the Eight of Swords, to me, there is always, I think there's an empowering side to the Eight of Swords. Not that you're surrendering to the anxiety, but that you are connecting to something greater that sort of shoves the anxiety to one side. Now, with this particular Eight of Swords, the one thing that gets me on this card is the symmetry. Everything is a reflection of everything else. And I think that's what that Chiron presence is saying, that work your way through the reflections until you find the original offending item, you know, for want of a better phrase, and you can look after that one, and all the different reflections of it will sort themselves out. Because I'm very much, also because of the background and what have you, I'm thinking of sort of, I've got the image in my head of the DC multiverse, how has it been recently, and how there's a prime Earth or a key Earth that changes on this one Earth, affects all of the others, whether that's Earth Sigma, Earth Zero, Earth Prime, or Prime Earth, sorry, not Earth Prime, or whatever it's called this week, because they've had another reboot. There's that finding that original point and dealing with that one. And there's an opportunity here to do that. It is something that you will see value in. There is something where there is value in doing this work, and value to tending and pruning and weeding and your life, your home, your mind, however you want to say it, at the moment. Right, come on, Aries. Let's see what you're on. Oh, okay, we've got two cards, right. Oh, we have a divine pairing, King and Queen of Pentacles. What immediately pops into my mind there is a new dynamic urge to nurture some form of partnership. Because I knew Aries was a motivation to some action, but I couldn't tell what it was, since the only action that was implied was in the Archontic row saying go out and have some fun. And and my own opinion is like, no, 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 not at the moment, not the right time. But Aries is, there's something that you want to fight for. There's something that you want, and that is worth fighting for. These are practical. It's not the King and Queen of Swords or Wands. It is the King and Queen of Pentacles that have just flown out with there. But again, that is all dependent on finding that one original offending thought, idea, perception, especially if it's a recent perception. Bear in mind, Neptune in Pisces, full stop. Not all perceptions can be trusted. And if it's even more recent, bear in mind we're Mercury retrograde. So what's Dear Woman got to say? We've got the Nine of... setting your own rules. Setting your own standards and being secure in those standards where maybe those boundaries or standards have slipped before. So that's not even saying that you need to tighten your boundaries. It may be that you need to loosen your boundaries and let certain things slide that you wouldn't have done before. But there is a clear definition going on of what line must not be crossed. And what I love with the Dear Woman Nine of Pentacles combination is this real sense of independence, which is a sense that you want to bring to this battle of fighting for something. You can't stand for someone else if you can't stand on your own 2 feet. That's really nice, Leo. So finally, and again, sticking with that partnership. So let's face it, there are love aspects here, if that's what you're looking for from your reading. We've got Pomona with her romance in the garden with, what was his name? Vertumnus? Which I'm sure sounds like the satyr out of Lion, Witch and Wardrobe. But Vertumnus was the god that romanced her. We've got the King and Queen of Pentacles, that divine partnership here. And then finally, we have the Angel of the Essence of Love. Let love be the center of my life. But if we're looking at these 3 piles here, that has to be the self-love first before you can offer it to anybody else. Which, if you're watching a tarot reading on YouTube, you probably already know that. But now's the time to put your money where your mouth is. Okay, so... if this means anything to you, Leo, comment down below. You don't have to go into detail, but it'd be nice to know if this reading, for whoever it's for, actually hits home for the person that it's for. So yeah, like, share, subscribe, all that good YouTube stuff, and yeah, see you soon. There will be the astrology show with David, but I'm sure I will give that a plug when I film the intro. Cheers.